Hello everyone, welcome to another view of another ship. So this is a new premium available at tier 9, so they're starting to fill out the ranks of the tier 9, and I suspect they're carefully working their ways up to the tier 10s. So there will be more 10 9s available. This is a tier 9 American battleship, the Georgia, and I will do the typical comparison. I think I'll save the battle for a different time because it's getting a little bit late at night here. But we will go run through the stats. So, first of all, the camo is Desert Storm camo, go figure. Right, let's go have some, well, I don't know if comparing numbers is fun or not. Right, survivability, we are looking at 52,000, 52.5 essentially, 1,000 hit points, 15% citadel protection, 30% flooding and fire resistance. We expect that'll probably be fairly good. A 5% damage reduction, 15% damage reduction, and 19.08% damage reduction because of the historical camo. Now I've outfitted all these ships exactly the same, except I haven't put the dispersion on the Musashi because the dispersion won't appear in the numbers. So 15, 30, 15, 19.08. That's not too hard to remember. Even I can manage that. So it has about 1,500 or about 1,300 less hit points than the Missouri. Same citadel protection, same flooding and fire resistance, same torpedo damage reduction. So we're seeing a bit of a theme there. So anybody that plays the Missouri will feel quite at home with the Georgia, which I suspect is the same class. Comes well behind the Musashi, which has 59,500 rather than 52,500. So basically 7,000 more hit points. Has 2.5% greater citadel protection, way less, 17.5% less flooding and fire resistance. It has 1.5% greater damage reduction, and torpedo damage reduction is a whopping 27.3% rather than 19.08. So 8% better, 8 points better on the torpedo damage reduction. Now, the poor John Bart. What are we looking at with the poor John Bart? Way less hit points, so the least number of hit points, and the poorest armour stats across the board. Although its torpedo damage reduction is a shave better than the Georgia or the Missouri. But its flooding and fire resistance is the lowest by far. Citadel protection is the lowest. I think the same as the Musashi. And the damage reduction, no, it's the lowest across the board. So 2.5% lower than the Georgia. Flooding and fire resistance 17.5 points lower, and damage reduction is the same at 15%. Let's go have a look at the Georgia speed. So the maximum speed 31 knots, time to get to full speed 23 knots, 5.4 degrees per second in the turn with a 12.5 second turn time. I suspect this will look vaguely familiar, and it looks exactly the same, almost exactly the same. So 31 point something, not really memorable knots, 25 seconds full speed instead of 23 seconds. Its maximum traverse speed is 5.2 degrees in the turn, 14-second turn time. So this is a bit slower in the turn, the Missouri. Musashi should be well and truly put that all to shame from the point of view of being far worse. So let's have a look at the Musashi. We have 26.5 knots. That's fairly slow compared with these other American battleships. Time to full speed, 30 seconds, so pretty slow accelerator. 4.4 degrees per second in the turn. That means that it's a degree per second slower than the Georgia. That's going to hurt, and the turn time is 16.5 seconds as opposed to 12.5 seconds. So getting the rudder across is slower, and when you've got the rudder across, it's slower in the turn. Of course, it's got more hit points. Jean Bart. So it's about a knot slower than the Georgia. It's a second slower to get to top speed. 5 degrees per second in the turn. That's instead of 5.4, so it is slower in the turn. It's half a second faster in the turn time, so 12 seconds instead of 12.5 seconds. But essentially the Georgia is the most agile battleship and one of the toughest. So, well, actually no, it's the third toughest of the premium battleships. Oh, it's John Bart. What am I doing? Right, guns. So it has 3 times 2. It has 6 guns. It is a geyser now. Go figure. It has 457 millimeters, which is big. Okay, let's go find out. So this is essentially 18-inch guns. So instead of having 9 of them, it's got 6 of them. They're not 18.1, they're 18. Reload time 20 seconds, which is pretty quick considering the fact that it's got 18-inch guns rather than 24 seconds. The range is 16.22 kilometers versus 15.3 for the Musashi. So really I'm just comparing 16-inch with 16-inch here. It's very long range. I think I may have actually picked range as it's, yeah, I went and picked something before. I should have. So the range is really long, but that's still, that 4% doesn't explain all the difference between 15.3 and 16.22. HE damage, 15% fire chance, which is pretty good. 1300 HE damage and 2300 AP damage with a turret traverse speed of 4.5 degrees per second. 4.5 degrees per second being faster than the turret traverse in the Musashi. But the Musashi has 1400 rather than 1300 HE damage. Actually has slightly less AP damage, so the AP damage on the Georgia is the heaviest of all the battleships. Let's confirm that. Yes, it is. So, and a 20-second reload for those 18-inch guns seems incredibly fast, because this has 16-inch guns and is reloading at 22 seconds. It has a less range, 15.87, as opposed to 16.22. It does 150 less HE damage, 2 points less of chance of setting a fire, 13% rather than 15%. It's about nearly 400 points less on AP damage. The Citadel damage rate is 250% rather than 300%. It has a slightly faster turret traverse at 5 degrees per second. Jean Bart. It also has fast reloading guns, but they are 15-inch rather than 16-inch, which means that they've got like penetrating stuff. They've got 14.2 kilometer range, the shortest range by far of any of these premium battleships. The lowest damage, HE damage, the lowest fire chance, 12%. The lowest AP damage, but the fastest turret traverse. Of course, all the guns are at the front, so which is it's got 8 guns at the front, so it can bow tank, which is nice because you'll need to against these other ships, I'm sure. Right, let's go find the Georgia again. That's desert camo. Right. Secondary guns, no automatic secondaries. It's got 127mm, so basically 5-inch. It's got 10 times 2, so it's got 20 of them with a 6-second reload. 5.87 kilometer range. Does nearly 400 damage with a 3% fire chance. Not too bad with a 3% fire chance. Let's go check out what we've got here. Got 6-inch guns. You've got 12 of them rather than 20. 9-second reload. Quite long range, 6.9 kilometers rather than, so almost over a kilometer longer range. Basically 150 greater damage and a 5% fire chance, which is not too bad. Although they are spread rather weirdly around the, so you can only get 9 of them on a target at any one time. Right. And the secondaries, which it's got 12 of them. So in total it's got 12 plus 12, 24 secondaries. The auto secondaries have a 9-second reload, do about 300 damage, 1% fire chance. So the automatic secondaries, of course the range is about 3.8 rather than 5.6 or whatever it was with the Georgia. So essentially it's got heavy hitting long range secondaries and much lighter automatic short range secondaries, which the Georgia doesn't have. Let's compare the Georgia with the Missouri. The Missouri has no automatic secondaries. In fact, it looks exactly the same. Those numbers are exactly the same. So the Missouri and the Georgia have the same secondaries. The Jean Bart has secondaries, however, they are in a wonderfully... so the main guns are usefully mounted out the front and the secondaries are rather less usefully mounted out the rear. They reload at 9 seconds rather than the 6 seconds for the Georgia. But they are 6-inch guns. They fire out a kilometre further. They do 150 more points worth of damage, 3% fire chance, which is the same. Very nice turret traverse speed at 12 degrees per second, but it also has a much smaller 100mm secondaries, 24 of them, which fire 4.14 kilometres, which is further than the Yamato's, the Musashi's secondaries at 3.8. But yeah, I view them as proximity detectors. They do damage, and they certainly, if you've got a mission that requires hitting 50 times with secondary guns, just getting within range of another ship, they do hit quite frequently, it seems. Georgia AA, we'll compare that with the Missouri. Why not? 378 AA with 3.6 kilometre range, 425 with 1.8. So that 3.6 and 1.8 seems to be pretty familiar figures. So 378 and 425. So 378 and 496. So the Missouri still has the best AA, and it has a better looking camo, I've got to say too. Musashi AA should be pretty 170 rather than 370 and 113 rather than 425. So yeah, so Musashi, good luck. Jean Bart AA, let's get down there, is still off its game. So it's way better than the Musashi, but 278 rather than 370, and rather than 425, it's 368. So although they have slightly longer range, 3.78 rather than 3.8, and 2.1 rather than 1.6, although to be fair, yeah, stick around cruisers. Surface detection, all of them have shocking surface detection, 12.5 kilometres, 11.5 kilometres, 12.5 kilometres, 12.5 kilometres, and 12.5 kilometres essentially. So yeah, good luck with that. Armory for the correct ship. The Armory is, you've got a choice between flooding and fire resistance plus 15%. They already have insane flooding and fire resistance, so I took main battery. I might regret that, but still, hey, there's nothing like outshooting the competition. The battle honours, if you play 10 battles, you get a very nice set of boosters. Those boosters there are particularly good for getting yourself accelerating through some lines, although it can be a bit of a shock if you put the booster on and really tank at the battle. And you'd get 4 titanium if you destroy 2 enemy battleships in a battle, which could be a challenge because any enemy battleships you face will probably be the main equivalent to yourself. It does have historical camo, Desert Storm, I'd like to call it. Ship hit points +4, main battery range +4 with the other another +4, so that explains that insane range of 16 kilometres plus. Main battery shell dispersion -4% and torpedo damage reduction, very much standard stuff. So there we go. That is the final thing. What do you get? You get a rapid reload. You get a rapid reload 1, which gives you increases the main gun reload speed by 15% for 20 seconds. So yeah, good luck. I mean, it helps, but it's a pretty basic rapid reload. However, let's go find the Iowa because it fits in with the the meta for American battleships. So your captains that you may have trained up for rapid reload and all the benefits around rapid reload, although fire supremacy provides additional rapid reload and additional precise aiming, some of the other rapid reload benefits are rapid reload only. So it is good to see that it is the Georgia is very much in line with the tech tree. So if you use it as a captain trainer, you'll get the benefit of the captain skills because the ship matches the sort of it matches the skills that are in the tech tree line. Anyway, that is the Georgia, which arrived today. I should probably put in an American port rather than Toronto here, but anyway, I'm sure it's been. I suspect it probably didn't spend any time in the Mediterranean because I suspect that it is probably a fictitious ship. It's a project. Yep, so that is, it is a project, it is a paper ship. Yeah, that is the new Georgia, Tier 9, American premium battleship with a reasonable captain trainer. I hope you found that interesting, and we'll be back for another video tomorrow. Thanks for watching.